All this talking makes me dry. So, reading for details, questions 1 through 14. Here we go. Question 1. What is the employer looking for if you're asked to provide a handwritten resume? If they ask for a handwritten resume or a sample of your handwriting, they're looking for good handwriting, good spelling, good grammar, and your ability to express yourself. So they're looking to see if your writing is legible. Now, I'll be absolutely honest, these days, nobody cares. I can't write anymore. I can't handwrite anything. It looks terrible. I can write on a whiteboard because that's what I do, but I never ever write anymore. I always work on a computer. I always print things off. I never ever write anything anymore, and my handwriting looks terrible. Things have changed. In what order should your activities and interests be presented? Reverse chronological order. This is actually picked up later in another question. Obviously in order of importance, and then backwards from the most important or the most recent to the least. What is the purpose of a resume? It's a contact for other people to connect with who you are. So it's an advert for you, it's a summary of who you are as a professional person. What information can you obtain by looking at it the way other people are looking at the way other people have presented their resumes? You can get a lot of information about what people have done right or wrong. You can get a lot of information about what looks good and what doesn't, in your opinion. You can also get a lot of information about what works and what doesn't by seeing, there's a lot of websites where they'll give you examples of good CVs that have worked to get people the kind of jobs you want. Another good piece of advice would be to go on websites and look up information from the kind of job you're looking for. So if you wanted to be, for instance, a doctor, look at what medical CVs actually look like and what's a good medical CV. When I write query letters about books, I go onto publishers' websites and I look at what has worked for other authors in my genre. So I look at what other people have done that works well. Why does it work well? What have they done that I'm not doing? And we try and get it as close to perfect as we can, understanding there's no such thing as perfect. What image do spelling mistakes, incorrect grammar, and untidy layout in a resume give the reader? Well, I mean, this is a stupid question. They look bad. They give you the image or the impression that the person writing it doesn't care. You know, if they don't care, your CV is the best part of you. That is the best way to present yourself. If you can't be bothered to present yourself well on your CV, it's the same if you turn up to an interview in old clothes. If you don't present yourself well, when it really, really matters, you will never bother again. You know, what you produce on your CV and what you do in your interview is the best of you. That's your A game. And I know that you're not going to bring your A game to work every single day. You're going to bring your B game at best. So if you're not great at your interview, I know you're going to be really bad day to day. Simple as that. What is the danger of relying only on the spelling and grammar checking functions in a word processing program to edit a resume? What should be done to ensure that a resume is free of errors? The danger is that they can't always tell what's a mistake and what isn't, especially in terms of complex grammar. I would argue that these days, word processors are very, very good at documents. So CVs they're usually pretty good at. They're very bad still at fiction writing because we are more creative with the way we word things. So they're not so good at that. But it's still not perfect. How to ensure that a resume is free of errors? The only way you can really do it is to have a good, solid understanding of how it's meant to be. Check it through yourself. If it's really important to you, really important, then you'll go to the trouble of getting someone better than you at grammar to check it for you. And I get this. I get a lot of students email me, can you look this over for me? Can you look over my letter for me? Can you give me some advice? I still get it today. So don't be afraid to go and contact someone who's really good at this as a second pair of eyes. I write stories. I'm a professional novelist. I still send things to my editor, my friend in Japan, and we check over each other's work. We're still, you know, even though we're professionals, we're professional enough to know that we are not perfect. Why would potential employers want to know about your activities and interests? To find out if you're interested in the world around you, to find out what kind of person you are, and to find out if your interests are actually relevant to our business. I don't want someone who's interested in movies to work in a bank. Because, you know, if you're interested in movies, if your number one interest in life is fiction and escapism, then you're not a banker. You know, a banker is someone that focuses on the details and doesn't get carried away with all the nonsense around them. they're not a good choice. So I want someone who's relevant to my business. So we're looking at interests that are in keeping with the job you're doing. If it was a banker, his interest would probably be history, the financial world in general. He'd probably be someone that reads the Financial Times. So it'd be someone with relevant interests. What communication skills are important in the workplace? Well, all communication skills are relevant in the workplace. The ability to speak to other people, the ability to take instructions, the ability to use all sorts of communication software these days is important. Communication skills are very important in the workplace. And I will admit that in modern times they have really slipped. I'm very bad at Telegram, and we use Telegram to communicate around the building. I hate it. I don't use it very often. My phone barely ever works with it. And I've noticed no one ever comes downstairs. You know, the admin guys are up in the office, and they make a change to something, and then we find out and say, why didn't you tell us? I told you 2 weeks ago on Telegram. It's like, well, if you didn't get a reply on Telegram, you knew we didn't see the message. And they go, not our problem. It's like, so why do people not communicate? Why does people not literally walk into the office that they pass on their way to their office upstairs every day, at least twice a day? Why not just walk in and say, did you get the message? We've moved your class around. No one ever does that anymore. Communication, personal communication is dead. It really is. And we've given over instead to digital information, and then we don't use it correctly. So communication skills are all important. What is the purpose of including referees in a resume? It's mostly to prove that you have people that like you, people that actually believe in you, people that will stake their reputation on you. Because we don't have time to get to know you personally, so we want to know that other people do and that you're worth getting to know. If we can get a professional doctor or lawyer or something like that to say, yeah, this is a good person and here's why, that's good. Then it gives us an extra little boost when we're looking at recruiting you. What impression does something give if it looks unprofessional? Line 32. Right, let's have a look at line 32, because that seems like the same question we were just asked. A handwritten resume looks unprofessional. Well, yes. We've already been asked this. It looks like you don't care. What does highlight mean in this context? Line 64. Highlight the responsibilities. So in other words, mention them and draw attention to them. It doesn't always mean like you're using a yellow pen and underlining something. Sometimes it simply means draw attention to it in another way, use words to do so. And what is reverse chronological order? Chronological order is in the order that they happened in terms of time, oldest to newest. We go the other way around in a CV, newest to oldest, because newest is the most relevant. What you're doing now is more relevant than what you did 10 years ago. We all understand that. So in reverse chronological order, it just makes more sense. And reading for ideas. What do you think is the most useful information in this passage? There's no really right or wrong answer to this. Some of these that's true of. The most important useful information in this is anything that makes you realize how important a CV is to you. The most useful information in this passage would probably be your presentation. Make sure that you really put in the effort. A successful resume can lead to an interview. This is important stuff. I need to get through to you. I need this in your head. You're grade 11, next year grade 12. Then you're out in the real world, and your CV is going to be make or break for you getting to the next step. What problems do you think you might encounter if you copied the way other people presented their information in their resume? There's no guarantee that other people have done it correctly. And unfortunately, with websites, most of them are out to make money. And that's a fact. Most of them are clickbait. So most of them, all they do is grab a load of CVs, put them on as examples, and the information isn't relevant. Now, as an author, I see this all the time. I see websites saying, we publish your book. And all they're doing is filling up pages with garbage. They don't care about quality, and that's becoming more and more common. So the danger is that all you're doing is following clickbait, and you're not really putting your own thought into it. You've got to stop the idea that copying other people works. The idea is to go through and find out for yourself what works, the ability to critically think. And I don't see a lot of people using that ability, thinking for yourself and making informed, wise, intelligent choices. Okay? Okay, so I think those are the answers that we're looking for. If any of you have got any different answers, especially to the last two questions, it doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. All right, guys, thanks very much.